Okay, so it seems to be that Pakistan has created a content cop nuke on India. India's got 1 week to respond. It seems that there are some dislikes on this video, although it is believed that these numbers are inaccurate due to the algorithms of the extension. I want you guys to take everything I say here with a bit of a grain of salt because I don't know that much about this conflict, which is code for basically nothing about this conflict. But I can tell you a bit about what's happened recently because I've read about that. Okay, so we've had some recent escalations between India and Pakistan, largely centered around the conflict over the Kashmir region, which is up here. Just so you know, a little tiny bit of background. Kashmir is basically a region that India and Pakistan have been fighting over since the partition in 1947 when the British Empire left. I don't know exactly why each side has like what main arguments they have for their claim over the region, but basically India claims all of it. So does Pakistan. China has a little bit of it here annexed to themselves as well. But this line here has been more or less frozen for the last 6 or 7 decades, with very small movements on either side. Recently, there was an attack in Indian-controlled Kashmir in what was typically seen as a kind of peaceful area, like a part of the region that was normally for tourists and was generally expected to be kind of like outside of the conflict. A bunch of gunmen in military-style fatigues with rifles came into this area because it was had like a kind of sparse security presence. They get into this area and they interrogated a bunch of tourists. They separated the Muslims from the other tourists by seeing if they could recite an Islamic prayer. And I think they maybe, pinch of salt, they might have checked whether or not those people were circumcised as well. In the end, 26 people were executed, 24 Hindu men, 1 Christian, and 1 Muslim who tried to intervene. So they spared the women and children, and that's, killed 26 civilian tourists. The attack was claimed by a fairly new spin-off, like a splinter movement called the Resistance Front, which I think is potentially a splinter group from the Pakistan-based group Lashkar-e-Taiba, which has a history of attacks on India, including they actually went into Mumbai in 2008 and killed like 160 people. So that was the attack. India has accused Pakistan of supporting terrorist groups financially with arms, and they have not produced their conclusive evidence of this yet, but it has resulted in the two countries downgrading relations with each other. Pakistani visa holders in India were advised to leave, or I guess like stay indoors, I guess. And since India is blaming Pakistan for harboring these terrorist organizations and supporting them separately as like separate entities from the military, it's kind of like India claiming to be fighting with terror groups that are not the Pakistani military, but also blaming the Pakistani government for the attacks. So the government and the terror groups are involved either way now. I didn't know this until recently, but there are kind of important water treaties between India and Pakistan, IP, because a lot of crucial rivers and water sources run between the two countries. The Indus Water Treaty is quite important because 80% of Pakistani agriculture depends on water that comes through India from shared water from the Indus, right? That treaty has been suspended. India has not, as of yet, decided to dam the water, although they definitely could. It's possible. It would take a while. Pakistan has said that they would see any attempt to block water going into the country as an act of war. Like that would be a red line for them. That would just be casus belli. Pakistan has closed the airspace to Indian airlines. Trade has been suspended. Actually, even trade that goes through third countries has been suspended as well. There have been exchanges of fire around the Kashmir region, skirmishes. India claiming to crack down on suspected Pakistani terrorists. The Indians actually did something kind of wild, which was the river. It's called the Jhelum. Jhelum? I can't remember. I don't know how to pronounce it. But India didn't block water yet, but they did release water into Pakistan occupied Kashmir just after a few days of heavy rain. So they ended up basically releasing like flood water into the Pakistani administered Kashmir region. And the people who lived there were forced to evacuate. They just released a flood into civilian areas in Pakistan. And the Pakistanis were obviously outraged, but they have not interpreted that as an act of war as of yet. So, given that this attack was on civilians, it was already expected a week ago that the exchange was going to happen, the one that happened yesterday. The difference is that this is an attack on civilians. So exchanges like this have happened before. In 2016, Pakistani militants at the border killed 19 Indian soldiers. And then India responded with airstrikes into Pakistani administered Kashmir. In 2019, 40 Indian paramilitaries were killed, and India responded with airstrikes, and then they ended up having a fucking dogfight over the region. The difference is, though, is that the targets here were civilians. That's seen as a big escalation. There yesterday were Indian airstrikes on Pakistan and Pakistani administered Kashmir. They claimed to be targeting terrorist infrastructure of the two main groups that are in the country that are accused of being supported by the government. And Pakistan, on the other hand, has argued that 26 civilians have died and 46 people injured. So that's where we are now. It looks like things are set to escalate quite hard, potentially harder than they have done in the past, because, again, it was civilians that were killed in this tourist area in Kashmir. India is blaming the government directly, and Pakistan does not seem to be willing to back down. They've vowed to respond to the strike that happened yesterday. And the problem, of course, is with India and Pakistan is that both sides are nuclear powers. They both have around 140 warheads or 170 warheads each. India have had their nukes since the 70s. Pakistan, 1984, I think they detonated their first weapon. So I don't know. It looks like as far as which sides are the interesting thing about this conflict so far is that I can't really understand why you would take sides, what the arguments are for both sides, because I honestly have no idea why either side claims that they're the rightful owners of all of Kashmir. I can imagine it might be something to do with demographics, maybe security, maybe the technicalities in the partition plan, but I don't know. From every understanding I get, it's Pakistan seems kind of cringe, they harbored the Taliban, kind of fucked up. India seems kind of cringe, Modi, bit of a fucking psycho, massive Hindu nationalist dickhead. Yeah, chaos. So I guess I'm probably going to spend at least the next few days trying to read as much as I can to understand what the hell's going on, because right now, different Taliban. Okay. Kashmiris, as far as I know, they want independence. So no one cares about them. Yeah, fuck those guys. Don't be a both sideser. What side do you want me to take? With limited knowledge, because it does seem like a lot of treaties were put in place to avoid escalations of this sort. But the problem is that they all seem to be kind of collapsing. So we don't know. I mean, a lot of it depends on whether or not that terror group in Kashmir was actually backed by Pakistan, by the government. But again, we haven't seen the evidence for it. And I don't think any third party has any strong opinion on it, as far as I know. And also the problem is with people intervening in Kashmir is the fact that China's involved. China has a piece of Kashmir that they've annexed. So, I don't know. Let's see some news. See what's what. That's where we are so far, okay? That's day one of me looking into this.
Has fired missiles into Pakistan in a deadly escalation between the nuclear-armed neighbors. The Pakistani military says at least 26 civilians have been killed in the strikes. India says it struck infrastructure used by militants linked to last month's attack against tourists.
They didn't annex it, they were given it by Pakistan. I did not know that. Oh, yeah.
In Indian-administered Kashmir. Pakistan's military says it will, quote, respond to this aggression at a time, place, and means of our own choice. India's foreign secretary described the strikes as limited. Pakistan says it has shot down 5 Indian jets in response.
Our intelligence monitoring of Pakistan-based terrorist modules indicated that further attacks against India were impending. Oh. There was thus a compulsion both to deter and to preempt. Earlier this morning, as you would be aware, India exercised its right to respond and preempt, as well as deter more such cross-border attacks. These actions were measured, non-escalatory, proportionate, and responsible. They focused on dismantling the terrorist infrastructure and disabling terrorists likely to be sent across to India.
Pakistan armed forces could have shot even more than 10 of their aircraft, but we exercised restraint. And at no time any of their aircraft was allowed to enter into Pakistan's airspace. And also at no time none of Pakistan aircraft went into Indian airspace.
Now, I just heard Pakistan's military spokesman there saying that they shot down Indian jets. Well, I asked Shalu Yadav, our senior correspondent in Delhi, if there's any confirmation of that from India.
Well, Terry, we've been here before. Whenever there's a serious confrontation between the two nations, both sides make...
Is that a four-star general? I hope so, because otherwise we don't believe a word he says.
Claims of inflicting maximum damage on the other side, and there's a lot of misinformation and disinformation that's been going around, especially in the first few hours of this strike by India. So we have to be very, very cautious. Now, as far as the claims of shooting down 5 Indian jets is concerned, we cannot verify it, but we have heard from sources and eyewitnesses in at least 3 parts of northern India where some unidentified debris of aircrafts have been found. Now, as far as Indian government is concerned, it's neither denied nor confirmed these reports. So it seems that there's a lot of fog around this operation, and we'll keep our viewers updated as and when we have more.
What more has the Indian government, Shalu, been saying about the attacks and their reasons for carrying them out?
Well, Indian government has been very clear, even over the last few days, that they want to go after these terror outfits like Lashkar-e-Taiba and Jamaat-ud-Dawa that have allegedly been given shelter by the Pakistani government. And today in the press conference, they said that they've done exactly that. But another thing that was worth pointing out from that press conference by the Foreign Secretary was he spelled out the alleged reason, the motive behind this attack, which he said was to incite communal disharmony in the country. As you know, that most of these victims who were killed by these militants were Hindus. And another thing that experts are pointing out is that this time, I mean, we've been here before. We've seen these kind of strikes by India in 2016, in 2019. But this time, India seems to have gotten further into Pakistani territory. And so now it remains to be seen how Pakistan will respond to that.
There's widespread concern, of course, in India and Pakistan and elsewhere about what's happening now along that border region. What are people on the streets saying about the attacks where you are?
Well, it's been, very emotional last few days for Indians, if you ask me. I mean, if you look at the reactions on the social media and, from people on the streets, they've been, calling for justice and going after those who were responsible for these attacks. Just this morning, our team went out on the streets of Delhi and asked people their reaction to these attacks, and this is what they had to say.
These people took the lives of innocent people and they widowed women. So Operation Sindoor is a rightful name. India has fought back against terrorist hideouts. Now time will tell how much Pakistan wants to escalate this.
I think justice has been served, and it was a well-deserved effort, diligent one by the army, by the government of India, and let's hail the king. Mr. Modi, please.
Holy shit.
This is a good thing.
Fucked up. This apparently... Oh, do I want to get into India-Pakistan Twitter? Apparently it's all this. It looks like the Twitter takes are coming in. They're coming in strong. Look at this queen. Where's she even from? What the fuck? I love a good both sides bad. I love that.
But it should have happened long ago. They killed our innocent people, so it's a good thing this happened to them. Most people are happy because of this action. No one has any...
I met a lot of Indian Jews in Israel. Yeah, there's a lot of those, yeah. That's a thing. I don't know when exactly they left India, but... Yeah.
problem with it. The government should have acted much earlier.
Now, of course, there's a lot of appreciation for the action by the Indian government, but a lot of people on social media are also calling for de-escalation because a lot of civilians' lives are affected whenever the two countries are in a conflict like this.
Shalu, thank you very much. That was our senior correspondent in Delhi, Shalu Yadav. Shamil Shams from DW's Asia desk is following this story. Shamil, India has repeatedly accused Pakistan of not doing enough to combat terrorist groups operating on its soil. What is Pakistan doing to combat terrorism?
Yeah.
Well, Pakistan has done things partially. Pakistan has cracked down on militant groups which it now considers a threat to its existence, like the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, which is affiliated with the Afghan Taliban rulers in Kabul. There are Baloch separatist militants that are operating in the Balochistan province, so Pakistan takes action against those militant outfits. But it remains a partial strategy. It's a selective crackdown on terrorist militant groups. What remains...
Balochistan is like southwest of Pakistan, right? It's like away from India. It's sort of near Pakistan, borders... It borders Afghanistan and mostly Iran, right?
To be seen that Pakistan cracks down on anti-India militant groups. They're not only militant, they're also ideological Islamist groups operating throughout the country.
Now wait, what was this about China? Is this true? So this is apparently the ceded part from Pakistan to China. Was this ceded to China? These look like separate little bits here. What's that about? Did Pakistan give this bit up? How? Was Pakistan at one point like surrounding the Indian Kashmir part? When did China get this one? Oh, Ayub Khan gave it to Mao. That would be this bit though, right? Not this bit. I don't believe you. Thank you, Sundowner. Calling me a retard based. What's this supposed to tell me? Just answer the fucking question. You want me to read all this right now? Fuck. Hang on. The McMahon line. Hey, I love a good McMahon line. That's very authentic. It's the most based Indian name I've ever heard in my life. I know Balochistan's important, okay? But not today. Fuck. Isn't Balochistan kind of like the reason that Pakistan has attacked Iran? Isn't that a thing? Haven't those two fucking fired shots at each other? Let's get this. What's it called? Aksai Chin. The PLA sought to expel Indian forces from the Chipchap Valley in Aksai Chin. Okay. It's like eating my fucking vegetables. Fucking hell. I'll just conclude. Okay, listen. I'm just going to use my instincts here. I think Pakistan gave this to China. And I think China took this one by force. This part here. That's what I think happened. Okay. I'm just making it up as we go along. Okay. If I'm wrong, someone send me a better source than just sending Wikipedia and saying retard like Sundowner did. Thank you.
So as far as these anti-India militant groups and ideological groups operate in Pakistan, the Pakistani authorities have not taken significant action against them.
People in chat are saying correct. That's true. Didn't need anything. Vibes-based research. That's how I do it. No problem.
In the past few years or in the past decades, because the military establishment, the security apparatus of the country considers these groups as a strategic asset. I'm not saying that Pakistan is not going to take action against these groups, but so far we have seen like a pick and choose strategy by Pakistani authorities.
How is Pakistan preparing to respond to these attacks from India? Do you know that?
I think in my view, Pakistan has responded to the attacks by India. In terms of what the Pakistani authorities are claiming that they have shot down the jets and they have retaliated. Now we have seen, we have heard, we have read that the Pakistani military has said that it would attack India in response to what happened last night. But in my opinion, I think the Pakistani authorities have achieved this kind of propaganda, this narrative war. What India wanted to achieve, Prime Minister Modi's
government... So it looks like Aksai Chin, China built a fucking road connecting Xinjiang to Tibet. And it went through Aksai Chin. And because they built that road, and they argued that it was in their maps, even though it doesn't seem to have been. They were just like, yeah, we got here first, fuck you. And India were like, no! And they've been disputing that ever since. Apparently it's inhospitable. Is that true? Does anyone live there? Or is it just a road? It's a big looking area. Who lives in no room for conflict? Apparently troop movements are not very... Oh, it's like a... It's got heavy snow, bitterly cold, hills, plateaus. Yeah, it doesn't just... You don't want to fight in rugged mountains, largely uninhabited. High altitude, arid region, no permanent settlements. Well, who gives a fuck that? Is it just like the high ground? Do people want the high ground?
It has in a way achieved that, and Pakistani authorities, by telling the people that it has shot down the jets, it has retaliated, it has responded India in kind, I think should be enough from the Pakistani side. A further escalation that Pakistan goes out and attack on Indian soil would blow it out of proportion. I do not think, I have said it before, that Pakistan's economy, the Pakistani situation, Pakistani politics cannot afford this kind of further escalation with India.
Now, Turkey is warning about the risk of all-out war. It joins Germany, Russia, China, the U.S., the UN in urging both sides to de-escalate in this conflict. How much appetite is there in Pakistan to de-escalate?
I personally believe that they have a lot of appetite. They have an appetite because of the limitations Pakistan has. I know there's a lot of war rhetoric, nationalistic, jingoistic rhetoric being played out in Pakistani media, social media. But I don't think that the Pakistani authorities would like to escalate further. And China, the US especially, would not allow this to continue further. So international actors, the global powers, and the geopolitical situation, I think that will all determine that the de-escalation takes place. If escalation takes place, it would be very unfortunate. It could spiral out of control. And I don't think that both India and Pakistan, two nuclear-armed nations, can afford this kind of further escalation.
Shamil, thank you very much for your insights. That was Shamil Shams from DW's Asia Desk.
Thank you.
And we can now speak to former Pakistani Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Hina Rabbani Kar. Thanks for joining us here on DW News. Now, India says it had intelligence of further threats from militant groups based in Pakistan and that it's taken preemptive action with these strikes. What's your response to that?
Okay, first, just to add some context over here. Currently, I'm speaking to you stranded at Doha.
Bro, what the fuck is this? Chinese forces objected to Indian road construction in the Galwan River Valley. According to Indian sources, melee fighting. What do you mean melee fighting? Like swords. What the fuck? I think I heard about it. Weren't they fighting with sticks? Like clubs? Holy shit. I remember reading about this. It's like 2020, yeah? Both sides insist that no bullet has been fired in 4 decades. There are reports that they fought it with rocks and clubs. There's a video. Oh no. 20 killed. Ladakh. Hang on. Let's look off screen. Brutal. Unreported clash. Oh, this is YouTube. Is this it? Disputed Himalayan border. May, what is the fucking point? There's no need. They got fucking COVID masks on and shit. They're kind of overwhelmed though, aren't they? Ha! Fucking 2 nuclear powers whacking each other with sticks. Fuck man, what the...
चीनी पक्ष को इस तरह के एक्शंस के लिए मना किया गया और सीमा पर शांति बनाए रखने के लिए उन्हें कहा गया इस मुद्दे को चीनी पक्ष के साथ
fucking state of this man. Oh, there they come. Okay. Yes. Okay, that's kind of mental. Fucking state of these people, man.
Airport because early or late in the evening or early
Your
hours
brain
of the
on
morning,
nationalism.
one nuclear-powered belligerent neighbor of Pakistan decided to launch missile attacks into Pakistan's territory, settled area of Pakistan, not across only the LOC, the line of control, on evidence or shreds of evidence which have still not even been provided to Pakistan or to the international community. I just want you to contextualize this, because what we're talking about over here is one country believing, creating a false narrative, going into hyper-nationalism, symbolism of sindoor, etc., to create a body of, I guess, votes or response from its own countries, and in order to do that, can escalate to the extent of actually sending missiles into a nuclear-armed country. Now, imagine where this escalation ladder ends, because as far as I guess the world also knows, Pakistan has not only nuclear deterrence capacity, but also the capacity in conventional warfare to match India for every harm that it does to Pakistan, which is, according to international law, now not only our right, but also our responsibility. And India's
I want to ask you about how this might
is
end
that they have
soon.
attacked civilians.
Now, Pakistan's
I
Prime
do not
Minister...
see this ending soon. And
Sorry,
no,
go
this
ahead.
is, unfortunately, this has been my shouting out to the world as an ex-foreign minister of Pakistan, that you're ignoring this very belligerent rogue nation which is emerging out of a good India that used to be a secular India that we know. But this Modi's India that has emerged started with 2016.
Okay.
Unilaterally
Let's move
telling
on
the world
to another
Kashmir,
question. I want to
etc.
ask you about something that Pakistan's Prime Minister has said. Pakistan's Prime Minister has called this...
Okay, so India bad, Modi bad. Okay, India used to be good, but now they're bad because Modi's a nationalist nutcase. Okay, now... Good start.
Minister
So we're Team Pakistan.
has said Pakistan's Prime Minister has called this an act of war. Are you expecting Pakistan to retaliate?
Look, as I said, our civilian targets, civilians have been killed in Pakistani territory. It goes beyond the pale of just defending our sovereignty and our national borders. And we are grappling with the question that do you give a belligerent larger nation to attack with missiles or anything of its choosing at will, choosing of its day and time, and just launch a military strike onto civilian population? And that's exactly what they have actually accepted to do. So
Okay,
what
we know
does
this
any
attack
country,
has
if the
taken
same thing was to
place.
happen to Germany today by France, what happens? What do? Do you wait for the next attack on the next civilian?
We're all wondering what is going to happen next, but I want to ask you about what's behind this. Sorry for interrupting you, but I'm just wondering, we're all wondering where this is going and how it got here. Pakistan, as you know, has long been accused of backing and providing a haven to organizations deemed as terrorist groups by the US and others. Can you understand that?
Oh, not that. Oh, fucking US terror designation. Oh, no. We're not team. Oh, fuck. We were Team Pakistan. Now we're in trouble. Oh, no. I mean, one man's terrorist is another person's peaceful freedom fighter, right? One man's terrorist is another person's Mandela or Hamas. Same thing, really.
For why India would say that Pakistan was complicit in that deadly attack on tourists last month in Indian-administered Kashmir.
Look, any types of claims can be made. We have seen recent retributions between India and Canada. Canada claims that India has been doing extrajudicial killing on their soil. No such claims have been made about Pakistan by any major country. But India and Pakistan have obviously had this rivalry, and we do believe and have very good evidence that has been provided.
Okay, India does extrajudicial executions and Pakistan doesn't. Okay, we're back on Team Pakistan. Okay, we're back in the terrorists. Let's go. We're back in Pakistan. They provide safe harbor for some terrorist organizations, but we U.S. designation, big deal, man. That probably just means they make good songs.
The United Nations Security Council also that India has its hands all over much of the Baloch insurgency and repeatedly finances terrorism in Pakistan. Now, for India to make a claim against Pakistan, maybe it's right. But for India to act on something without giving any evidence to Pakistan to solve this problem, if it even exists, or to the world to be able to convince, it's pretty much like the press conference that they just did. No questions asked.
So
they think they have the impunity to be able to do what they will without any questions asked, because India says, because India believes it as a rogue nation, I believe They have found that right and been able to do that in 2019, got away with it. And now, I guess, the escalation ladder, or what they think is possible, within the realm of possibility.
Okay.
And as far as international law is concerned, I don't think they care much about it.
Okay, there are a number of questions here. Here's one. India's foreign secretary says his country has seen no action from Pakistan against militant groups since the Pahalgam attack, the attack on those tourists last month. I'm wondering what your response is to that. Has Pakistan actually taken action against?
No measure against people who actually killed civilians. I mean, that's not Mandela shit. That's just, they just found some civilians and killed them. 26 of them. Think we're, oh no, probably pro-India now. Fuck. We're pro-India, guys. We're back.
Militants who may have been involved in that attack?
Look, across the board, Pakistan has been taking actions against militants for the last 10, 15 years.
Shit.
Our military has been in active combat against terrorist militants who've been taking lives in Pakistan also. That is what Pakistan's priority is. I find this statement by the Indian Foreign Secretary absolutely ridiculous, to the point of being ludicrous, because nothing was ever shared with Pakistan, as I have repeatedly said. From the first second that this attack, which was a security breach in Indian-occupied Kashmir, still according to the Security Council, disputed territory, it was a security breach, a security failure on part of the Indian government. On the second that this happened, Indian government was on international airwaves making accusations on Pakistan that they know that this is from Pakistan. So this is basically a typical Indian ploy of diverting attention away from their deep security, issues, problems, and how they've done politics, how they've taken over Kashmir unilaterally.
Typical Indian ploy. That's racist, isn't it? Don't we get to call that racist? She was basically like, this is just the fucking Indians doing what they... Damn. Don't we get to call that racist now? That's like saying the fucking Arabs. That's what that's like. She's racist. Oh no, that's a microaggression if I ever saw... Wait, does that mean we're on the side of Pakistan now? If we're... Okay. Yes. Yeah, now we're on the side of Pakistan again because of that one.
I'm afraid we're going to...
Ever since yesterday, we are pro-microaggression. Okay.
Really,
leave it there.
I mean, I see the making of a rogue nation, which I've been talking about, and frankly speaking, 2 nuclear states, escalation ladder. I guess this is what the world was waiting for, giving India the type of impunity that it seems to have enjoyed for the last decade and a half.
Former Pakistani Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Hina Rabbani. Kar, thank you very much.
Okay. Wonderful. What's this?
My pledge is that I will be pilot and I will help everyone. Pilot.
Yeah, he's a pilot. Great.
When I will grow up, I will be army and save Pakistan and destroy India.
Strong army. Whoa, great.
I will open as much educational institution as possible and I'm proud to be a Pakistani.
The next generation of Pakistan is going to make Pakistan literacy 100%.
Fuck
My
yeah.
pledge is to when I will grow up, I will
Is this just Hassan's chat? Is that what's going on here?
help the poor people by giving their homes, by giving them homes.
Inshallah, he is going to give homes to everyone.
My pledge to my country is that I will finish all corruption, and so we will prove to Pakistan is not less than any other country. Pakistan Zindabad.
Pakistan Zindabad.
I love Pakistan. I will sacrifice my life for Pakistan. I love Pakistan.
We all love Pakistan. Pakistan.
Sorry.
Boy,
Youth of Pakistan. We love our country. Pakistan Zindabad.
Pakistan Zindabad.
We pledge.
What?
Pakistan Zindabad.
Oh, she's staying on
My
script?
pledge
Okay.
is that I will be pilot and I will help everyone. And I will help everyone.
why are we still here? Just to suffer.
Yeah, he's a pilot. Great.
My pledge is to that I will study hard.
Stop the cap.
Okay, the editing is so fucking pointless. This does not need editing. What are you talking? Fuck.
He's going to study hard, bright.
Why are you bullying me?
My pledge is to help people who need for like people money and all this.
He's going to help the people in Pakistan. Great.
to sacrifice my own life for Pakistan.
Holy shit.
That's the spirit, great.
I pledge that I will save my country.
You will save the country, inshallah.
When I will grow up, I will be army and save Pakistan and destroy India.
Okay, so it seems to be that Pakistan has created a content cop nuke on India. India's got 1 week to respond. It seems that there are some dislikes on this video, although it is believed that these numbers are inaccurate due to the algorithms of the extension. Okay, wake up, India. You can't just make a fucking 600 Bollywood films a year and call that your response, okay? You need to be specific, okay? People thought Ethan Hassan was slop. What the fuck?